Okay, I want to show you this video, then I want to come back and talk about it.
Are you a capitalist? Let's find out. Let's see what it takes to produce something. Okay, let's produce a football. First, you're gonna need the pig skin. So you've got your little pig with their little wiggly tail. Cool. Next, you're gonna need a factory. Okay, you're gonna need a place to build these things. What else are you gonna need? You're gonna need people to use these machines in your factory and produce those goods. These three things are called the means of production. It's the things that you need to produce something. Capitalists have those things. If you are an hourly or salary worker, you are a part of the means of production. You don't own this shit. Do you own a factory? Do you own, influence, or control the supply chain? Then you are not a capitalist. You might support this system, which contributes to the climate catastrophe, the extraction of essential and limited resources, and the exploitation of people. Because there's no way to make money out of all of this without, say, polluting, or I don't know, going to war for rare minerals to make new iPhones every year, or paying people less than a livable wage so that you can extract as much money from this process as possible. Those people are capitalists, and they belong to a class called the bourgeoisie. You and me and the majority of the world, we belong to the proletariat class. We're not far off from peasants. In fact, they had more days off than we do. So, you're only a capitalist if you control the means of production, or if you're foolish enough to believe that someday, somehow, you will. Even though we have more wealth inequality in the United States right now than they had before the French Revolution. Power to the people.
She makes excellent points about some things, and I think she's off about other things. What about people like me? I was a worker for 20 years. I started out as a laborer on a landscape maintenance crew. The following year, I was a laborer on a landscape construction crew, and from that moment on, I worked my way up. I was a laborer on a landscape construction crew, then I was an assistant foreman on a landscape construction crew, and then I was a working foreman on a landscape construction crew, then I was a superintendent supervising a couple of landscape construction crews, then I was a project manager supervising multiple landscape construction crews before I eventually started my own company. How was I able to start my own company? Because I was foolish enough to believe that I could work, save money, and eventually start a company. Now, it wasn't in my sights to start a company until the company I was working for went under, but that's how I did it. So am I bourgeois? So I guess my question is, bougie. Sorry, I know I said it wrong. I guess my question is, was I okay when I was part of the working class, when I was one of the people in that layout that you have on your whiteboard? When I was one of those people, I was okay for you. I was okay by you, right? I was one of you. But the second I took the money I made working for all of those companies and went and started my own landscape company, I became bourgeois. I became too bougie. I'm now part of a ruling class that exploits everything around me. I'm not saying that people and entities like that don't exist. I'm not. There are some very bad people and some very bad entities that do some very bad things, that oppress people, that keep people down. What about people like us? What about the millions of Americans that worked for somebody else, saved their money, and then went out and went to work for themselves? Here, right now, I have two companies that really bring in revenue, and one of them's not really bringing in much. That would be the trucking company. We make our money off of content creation. It's content that I create, that my wife helps me put titles and thumbnails and things of that nature to, and descriptions in and whatnot and what have you. And then we get scheduled out on various social media platforms. That's how we earn a living. What class do I fall into now? I'm using one of those evil iPhones in order to put a fucking roof over my family's head, make sure that my kids have what they want in life, what they need in life as far as their education goes, pay for our health care out of pocket. Am I bourgeois? Am I bougie? I'm working for myself. I have my own company. Listen, I get it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but to tell people that they are foolish to believe that if they're part of the working class, that one day they can't possibly branch out on their own. I'm sorry, I know plenty of people, plumbers and carpenters and roofers and tile guys and cement guys and landscapers. There's a shit ton of guys that have either trucks or vans with some type of lettering on the side parked in their driveway tonight that worked their ass off for somebody else, saved their money, and then took a risk to go work for themselves so that they can make a better life for themselves and their family. But according to people like you, they're the scum of the earth, right? They're the bourgeois people. They're the ruling class. They are exploiting the people that work for them and the minerals that they need in order to get their job done and the tools that they need. And ironically enough, you're saying all of this into what, an iPhone or an Android with the earbuds? I mean, come on. There's evil in the world, but not everybody that's a capitalist, not everybody that's out there working for themselves is some evil fucking corporate entity. There are plenty of hardworking men and women that worked their ass off and said, you know what? I'm done making somebody else rich. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to set my own hours. I'm going to make sure I have time for my family while still keeping a roof over my family's head and maybe doing a little bit more for myself to make sure my family has a little bit more. Instead of continuously doing a little bit more for some other company and making somebody else rich. Yeah, guys like us, me and Mr. Global, and other guys like that have capitalistic enterprises, or some of the lawyers that you see on this app that work for their own firms, they're all scumbags, right? Because they went to work for themselves. They get lumped in with the corporate giants that are truly exploiting people, right? They're all the same. There's no difference between them, right?